I know it's a lot of people that are probably like live right now. I saw a couple of people, so that may be where you are in this moment. Um, I'm gonna see if anybody does come in just to make sure like the sound and all of that is perfectly fine. I don't know what's going on with this. Sometimes it act up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that little piece, that little piece. I'm gonna try to get it straight. It is what it is, ain't it? Throw that joint up. All right, so let's get to it because, like I said, the biggest reason for doing this live is because typically when I do skills, whether it be DBT or CBT and various modalities, I don't ever do it live. I always do a video. And so I do want to give people the chance to maybe ask questions or even be given the chance to possibly process it while we're here together. It may be something that is said when y'all are listening to videos and you're like, I really don't understand just how that would work or what that would look like. Um, so we're going to get to it. So I don't know if y'all have ever seen that movie, Talladega Nights. And it's like, I think they say it's the story of Ricky Bobby. And what he says is, if you're not first, you're last, right? Is that really true though? You know, um, but somehow we still move through life as if we're not first, we're going to be last, which means that we're moving at a rate that may be unsafe. We've talked about that in various videos. It may be unhealthy for our mental health, our emotional health, and all of those things that that we have. Um, but what if the skill is called fast, and the meaning is actually opposite of how we look at just being fast and going through life fast? So that F in the fast skill, it says, be fair to yourselves. Now, we can do that in so many ways, y'all. Like when we say be fair to yourself, what does that look like for you? How many times has it been where maybe you haven't been fast and been fair? Use that fast skill to be fair to self. Are we fair to ourselves when we interact with others? Or do we sometimes compromise our own values just to, avoid any conflict, right? What about being fair to ourselves? If you ever notice at the end of every live, I may say, or video, I may say, give yourself space and grace. We can be fair in that way as well. So it doesn't always have to look like the fairness that we're used to, where we're extending it or it's equal treatment. Here, when we're learning skills, the fair we're talking about is more about self. We always say, what if we started, extending to self the same as we extend to others? Because we give so graciously of our time, of our patience, of our compassion, and all the above, right? So, this fair to yourself begins with communication, and it's saying, validate your feelings. When we're communicating with others, it's so easy to tell somebody else, I hear you. And we're so quick to try to see it from their perspective, i.e., maybe showing empathy. But what if being fair just looks like first validating our own feelings? You don't have to say it verbally, audibly, but just at least acknowledging them, right? And then in that same communication, we now can validate someone else's feelings. Now, let's not confuse validation with meaning that we must agree, because we really don't, right? I do not have to agree with what you say or your beliefs or anything or your behaviors when I validate your feelings. I can validate your feelings because validating feelings just means I'm letting you know I heard you, basically reflecting back to you that which was said, if that makes sense. Additionally, I would say that the second thing would be not making apologies that are unwarranted. You know, there's a thing where some people over apologize, meaning that something may have happened or occurred in life where it was necessary for an apology, but now they found themselves over apologizing, meaning they may be apologizing for even having a certain feeling or a certain thought or not agreeing with someone. Some people who may struggle with mental health symptoms, they may start to apologize for even being alive, y'all. And that sucks, really. Think about that. When we're apologizing, are we intentional with it? Or are we apologizing just because it's what's expected? Or maybe it smooths the situation over. Maybe it shuts the person up because we really don't want to hear what they got to say anyway. Right? So when we're not, apologizing intentionally, then what meaning, what power did that apology really have, y'all? Right? Just something to be aware of. Like we said, the first letter, F, be fair to yourself. Validate your feelings before you validate someone else's. The second is that A, don't make unnecessary apologies. Don't apologize for just simply being. Don't apologize for having your own voice and your own thoughts. No. Don't apologize for a need, not even maybe a desire that you may have, right? That S in the fast skills, it says stick to your values. We often explore just how our values, our value system, our belief system has been shaped long before we even start grade school, right? We learn behaviors from parents, guardians, whoever we were around when we we're growing up during that developmental stage, right? But do those values even still hold the same weight and importance that they once held before for you? Are you still moving in a way where you're upholding these values that if you were to do just some self check ins, they may not even be that important anymore? Find out what your values are, right? Once we know our values, then be steadfast with them, meaning that, what's up, Stephen X? Blessings to you. So nice to see you. So excited that you're able to stop by. Hoping that you're having a great Sunday. So we're actually just talking about the fast skills, Stephen. I don't know if you got to hear the first portion or not, but we're actually on the values and sticking to your values. What's up, my brother Daryl? What's up, bro? It's Mr. Shelton. I see y'all. And you know what? I definitely am so excited that you're here. The Stepping Razor, you are in the building, brother. So excited y'all could just stop by. Wow. Did y'all get to hear any of the first portions of the live? Because I want to make sure if you are able to hang around for a few minutes and you have questions that maybe we can just chat it up. Just came in. Okay. Just got in about a minute ago, Daryl. Okay, no worries. No worries. I love it. I was just saying how typically when I do skills, I always do a video and post it. And I love that, y'all are so engaging, right? And the feedback that's provided. But I just felt like, what would it look like if I did it in real time? And that way, questions that may come to mind when you listen to the videos, we can kind of just bounce, different ideas off of each other, or just seeing if you can find the skill to be meaningful for you, right? All right, so it's the fast skill. You know, at the beginning, I always make the joke when I think about the fast skill of Talladega Nights. Oh, you just got the notification. Okay, wow. Okay. Um, so Talladega Nights. Any of y'all seen that movie with Will Ferrell? Or is it just me that watched Talladega Nights? No, you haven't? Okay. Oh, Mr. Shelton saw. Okay. Well, he has this one line because his dad was like this race car driver, right? And it was all about, oh, okay. All right, Daryl. Yeah, I don't forget. I love movies like that because, it's senseless. You ain't really got to have a lot of thought. You can just sit there and laugh at the stupidity sometimes. Anyways, so his dad, yes, that part. Oh, what's up? My husband in here, y'all. Hey, Chris. That is exactly what they would say. If you ain't first, you last. And that's the first thing I always think about when I think of the fast skill, because we move through life so fast. Life and everything in it is fast, y'all. So it kind of makes sense that we begin to have this mindset of expectations, quick fix, all of these things. And so I just don't want anybody to be confused by this acronym, the FAST skill, because we're definitely not going to be moving fast. All right, so let's get to it, y'all. The F in it, it says be fair to yourself. Now, yeah, that part, Daryl, but it's real, right? Even when you try to be more present in the moment, you find yourselves like developing this mindset of right now, chop, chop. Time is money. Let's get it. We can be shaped when we're not even aware of it. That's why sometimes media can be dangerous, if you will, just for the mind. So that F says be fair to yourself. What does it look like for some of y'all if you want to share in being fair to yourself? So in dialectical behavioral therapy, the actual F, it means as far as communication with others, you know, um, validating your feelings first before you validate another's. So often when we like engage in a conflict with communication, um, we often just are so quick to validate that person. Sometimes just because maybe we don't want to hear what they got to say. What's up, Freedom's March? Um, so right off the bat, we're just like, yeah, I'm hearing you. Okay, that's fine. What's up, Stray Godzilla 22? And we know damn well we don't agree with nothing they're saying. Appreciate you, Freedom's March. Wow. All right, I want to read these because y'all be dropping some gems. Mr. Shelton said, don't blame yourself for things you can't change. Yeah. And it's so good to keep reminding yourself because we can learn that and it may be a part of who we are in our belief system, but sometimes we find ourselves still blaming ourselves for things. I love that. Daryl says, I would say not being hard on yourself. knowing that you're human and will make mistakes, knowing that life is a one-time trip. That part, right? Yeah. So when we communicate, like I said, often if we don't want to hear what somebody has to say, we will just say, okay, all right, I got it. Because we like, just shut up. I don't feel like hearing this sugar honey iced tea. And then moments later, we still can kind of feel something going on the inside because obviously we were still, a little aggy from this whole exchange. Well, the fast skill teaches us with the F to be fair to yourself by validating your feelings first. If you already are about to approach a conversation and you know that you have this feeling, whatever it may be, I often tell y'all it's real. It's real. The feeling that you're having is real. It may not check out to be factual, meaning that the math may not be mathing for why you're feeling this way, right? But the feeling in that moment is real. So validate your feelings. As for that other person, you can validate somebody's feelings, y'all, without ever agreeing. And that's what I love about validating others. I love the F, that fair, being fair to yourself in fast skill, because I don't have to agree with you, but I can validate you. How do I do that? It may look like me just saying, I'm hearing what you say, or reflecting back that what you said to let you know I at least was listening. Man, that can be so helpful in a conversation, y'all. Because it sucks when you're talking and the person's looking you dead in the face and they can't tell you sugar, honey, iced tea, or what you said. So just as always, encourage you to validate your feelings first. A couple of you have already said things like that. Daryl was saying, not being too hard on yourself. Validate without agreeing. That would be helpful in these boxing conversations. I can see it, right? Yeah, I'm hearing you. And I don't agree with nothing you're saying. You are delusional as hell. That can go so many ways. What's up, Acondo? Blessings to you. Being able to articulate your feelings, thoughts, etc., is a challenge. In what way, though? Is it because it's so unfamiliar? Or is it because maybe the person you're speaking to is not giving you that chance to formulate and really process what you would like to say? Tell me about that, Stray Godzilla. I'm going to just give you another second. Like I said, it's a lot of people live right now, and I want to not stay in too long so that we can support our other fave content creators that we all watch. All right. So while hopefully Stray Godzilla heard me and he'll come back in the chat. The A. Do any of you find yourself, even if it's not currently, have you ever over apologized, y'all? Have y'all ever done that? Okay. Well, I'm going to wait to see if let's see. I meant it's a skill to articulate thoughts of your own. Okay. I'm hearing you. Definitely takes practice, right? Definitely takes practice. It's a lot of things that I heard many, many decades ago. And I cannot say that I was as wise then as I am now. Why? Because in the simplest terms, wise just means knowledge and application. So sometimes even just gaining knowledge is not really you know, enough. It's when we're able to apply it. All right, let's see what everyone else is saying. bombarded with advertising, etc. Yeah. Freedom Smart says, only to the wife. Nah, that's a lie. Heck no. A condo a few times when I'm in the outright wrong. Right. So there have been moments, right, where we may have done something and it's like, yeah, I was wrong for that. My actions did not align with my values. And we're going to get to those values in that talk in a second. But what happens is, how much power and impact does that apology have as you begin to just say it over and over? Just think about that. Or it can almost become conditioning, where you apologize for things that don't even warrant an apology. So that A in the fast skill says we don't need to make unwarranted apologies. Why? We don't have to apologize for having a need to be met. We don't have to apologize for just even being alive, being present, having our own thoughts, having our own values, having our own belief systems. We don't need to apologize for that. Just because it may be uncomfortable or unfamiliar for another doesn't mean I have to apologize for it, does it? If I made an obvious mistake that I shouldn't have made, yeah. I think sorry is powerful unless you put but after it. That part, especially for small stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's almost like a negative connotation, right? Um, I'm pretty intentional. So if I do apologize, I actually will actually say I apologize for such and such, because I don't even like saying I'm sorry. Let's just think about that. Not to like get into semantics, but just think about it, right? We often talk about, even when we're having boxing conversations, just that the importance of words and what people say. So if I'm constantly saying I'm sorry, for me personally, like I said, this is just my belief system. Um, I'm not a sorry person, so I don't say I'm sorry. I will apologize when it's warranted, right? And yes, it sucks when somebody look at you and say, "Listen, I apologize for doing such and such, but well, you know what? And for me, can't speak for nobody else. I have now canceled out everything you said before then." Like my brain literally dissociates. It just turns off. It's like, okay, yep, we're gonna be here again. Because although that but negates everything. Exactly. Like it's like, okay, so I'm just gonna wait until we have this same conversation, because apparently you may not even know the impact of your behaviors and what they may have had, right? But we're all doing life for the first time, like Daryl was stating earlier in the chat. S in fast skill, it says stick to your values. If anybody wants to share, um, what are some of your values? This is what makes us who we are. This is what separates us from others. These are our core beliefs, right? So being truthful might be one. Integrity might be another. Self-respect, yeah. I'm going to try to keep that in my mind. I'm going to try to pin what you just said, my brother Stephen X, self-respect. I'm going to try to keep that in my mind for the end of this live. And you'll see how it's so applicable to what we're talking about. One has to apologize to be competent or accountable. That is true. When it's warranted, you know. Good afternoon. What's up, brother Clarence? Yeah, you finally caught the live. That is so funny. Nice to see you in here, though. We're just learning a skill together. And right now, we're actually exploring sticking to your values. The term being on code, just having an honorable code to live by. Yes. Thank you, Clarence. I appreciate that. Yeah, because here's the thing, our values, they're our foundation, y'all. If we don't have a foundation, that means we can be swayed this way, swayed that way. You ever knew people who were like leaves in the wind? Okay, what's your code? You know, some people can be like leaves in the wind, and I can't say that I know personally that that is what their issue is, but it definitely gives off not knowing who they are or not knowing their own values. And so that way they are easily influenced by the next trending thing because the majority may be doing it. Man, having that foundation of your values, you can be steadfast even if you have to stand alone, you know. But it says don't compromise your values when we're having these communications, y'all. Like I said, this fast skill, and I'll say it now, I just won't even hold it, Stephen X. In psychotherapy, we call this skill a self-respect skill. And I'm hoping that y'all can see how as we go through this skill. You know? So that's the sticking to your values. That's the S. Let's move on to the T, y'all. That T in the fast skill says be truthful with yourself. Be truthful. Don't act helpless when we're not. Anyone ever known that? Known, like a situation or known a person who you know damn well they are not helpless. But the energy they are giving is like, I just can't. I can't do it. I need this. I need that. Some of you may have done it at some point. And I'm going to tell you in a minute why it can be okay. Ah, yeah. In a moment. Yeah. So real quick, just Stray Godzilla said depression. You can see it in that. Mhm. I mostly see it if we want to jump to mental health symptoms. I typically see this in but it's true, Daryl. And for those of you who saw my video about personality disorders, it really does happen because it can be so draining to be around someone who is displaying that. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you, Clarence. I mean, let's just be for real. We are humans having a human experience. If you already got your stuff going on and you hearing this person with their stuff going on, and you like, man, they just looking for sympathy right now. I'm not showing them empathy. I'm not showing them sympathy. Right? Okay, so now let me get to the mental health side of it. There are some diagnoses or symptoms I prefer because some people exhibit symptoms and traits when I would not diagnose them. For a lot of you that have listened, I'm very, very careful. I do not just be out here handing them joints out. I don't rock like that. And I don't respect others that do so. So you see that type of super needy, as my brother Daryl said, more in personality disorders. But on the flip side, it's a need that's trying to be met. So it kind of makes you look at it differently when you're seeing these needy people. It goes beyond what they may be parting from the lips, right? So they may be saying, I just need somebody here with me. I don't want to be by myself. And you looking around like you ain't never by yourself. What are you talking about? The need that they may be trying to meet, the need that may be trying to be met, thank you, gosh, is their fear of abandonment. Y'all see how that took a whole turn? So that's why we say it's more than what meets the eye. Doesn't make it any easier to deal with individuals like that. Like I said, it can be draining because you like, I got my own stuff going on and you sitting over here crying about that. Well, for them in that moment, it is that big, right? That's a whole nother topic though, because we're definitely going to start exploring different personality disorders, just so that way, everyone can be more aware. But be truthful even to yourself. If somebody says, Brother Daryl, Brother Clarence, Brother Stephen, any of y'all, Stray Godzilla, you doing okay? You been all right? And it is a safe space. Like you actually, know this person. You ain't got to be dropping this on everybody. But you don't have to tell them, yeah, I'm great, when you know damn well you're not. Or if you tell them you're great, who are you trying to convince, them or yourself? Just a different way to look at it, y'all. Just a different way to look at it. So, like I was saying, fast skill, first part we learned is be fair to yourself. Validate your feelings before validating others' feelings. Just because I validate your feelings does not mean I have to agree. The A said, don't make unwarranted apologies. That S, stick to your values. If you don't have your values, something has happened in life and we've kind of got mixed up in just life. Life does life, y'all. Then really check in and really figure out just what your values are. I just called a fighter I know just to check on him. That's kind. That's really kind. And I'm grateful that you have the space to do that, because sometimes life may be coming at so many of us so fast that we may not have the space to do that. And it's up to us to know if we have that space, right? I think the I'm great response comes from not wanting to show weakness or not looking needy to others. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially, and it varies even with gender, right? Hi, mommy. So happy to see you. But yeah, and the more you say it, would it not be, like the more you say, I'm fine, I'm great, isn't that just like almost conditioning your own self? Or at least trying? All right. So this fast skill, y'all, like I told you already, it's about self-respect, having your self-respect. It's an interpersonal effectiveness skill. It helps us engage and communicate effective communication, because anybody can communicate, but it doesn't mean it's going to be effective, y'all. Anything about that skill that resonated or something that came up for you that you want to share? Any questions? Even if it's off topic, I might have an answer, I might not. I'll tell you. Yeah, you conditioned yourself to sweep stuff under the rug until that lump under the rug gets obvious. Oh, that part. Yeah. Yep. And I think we've all been there at some point, right? where you place things in the closet and you close the door. Because if we can't visibly see it, then it must not be until we no longer can close the closet because we got all this shit pouring out, right? Oh, and yeah, and I don't even know how, I don't even think I can have people actually come up here. I think I have to have some different streaming. I don't know, you know. On my first live is when I was sitting there and I'm like, oh, how do I end this stream? I mean, I didn't even know how to do that, y'all. I'm just going to give y'all a minute. When you validate your own feelings, you won't need anyone else to. Ah, that is true. Yeah, Brother Clarence, that's what I was thinking. Thank you. But that is so true, Freedom's March. You know, I often share with people a lot of times that I'm so grateful that my mommy, you know, the village that I had that poured into me growing up, they validated me. And growing up, I could hold on to that validation. But then as you become an adult and you begin to go out, that validation can be tested a little bit, right? And then, yeah, you learn how to validate self. But I ain't gonna lie, it made it a lot easier being validated by those around me just to learn how to do it. Anything else before we go ahead and jump off this joint so we can go back in these YouTube streets? Because there's a lot of boxing talk going on. And hopefully I didn't miss anyone that was here. I'm just going to scroll up and see. I don't think I did, y'all. I think I got everybody. Awesome. Yes, Brother Clarence, and I would love to do that. So, on a side note, I'm also trying to get used to doing this because there have been a few, well, now four, yeah, that have said, you know, hey, we'd love to have you up. And I'm like, I get pretty overwhelmed, you know, with stuff like this. So, yeah, I'm just trying to become more comfortable with it. That's all. Y'all make it easy, though. So. All right, y'all. It was a lot of people that like kept asking. They were asking, "Hey, would love to donate and support," and I would sometimes just act like I didn't either see it or I intentionally just avoided it and didn't respond. And then I had to take a step back and say, you know, it was a lot of people that I like pushed and pushed, like, hey, let me know your Cash App, let me know this, because I definitely want to support the channel. I want to do all these things. And I'm like, it's kind of not fair when people ask you and then you act like, you know, you just turn a deaf ear, if you will. So I did include the PayPal in the description. So donation if you want to. It's not going to stop me from doing what I do. I love creating this space for us as a people. And I love that it seems to be encouraging, as well as, you know, providing you with a lot of psychoeducation. So just know that I appreciate all of you. I'm hoping that you continue to enjoy this day. I hope you have a great week. And we're doing life for the very first time. So just be gentle. The values of maybe having compassion for others, being kind to others, being caring and caring for others. Extend that to yourself, for we are all in need of that at some point, and we all need space and grace, y'all. Be blessed, and I'll see y'all out here in these YouTube streets. Thank you for coming through. Bye.